Bathroom. I woke up because I needed to piss. That's it. I didn't ducking do anything. The bathroom's right next to my room, and I can easily just run inside, hit the lights, lock the door, and do my business. Then I'll open the door to the darkness again, run back to my bed. That's what I do. Well, I did my stuff. I opened the bathroom door, ready to run back. Instead of the usual darkness, what I saw when I opened the door, a pale face was staring at me. I can't get it out of my head. It was so dark, the only light was from the bathroom light, so when I opened the door, its pale face was white as a sheet, almost blinding me, its bloodshot eyes wide open, with a massive toothy grin that seemed to spread from ear to ear, as if it was absolutely ducking over the moon to see me. The thing's crooked teeth were caked with dried blood. I feel like I'm about to vomit. I swear to God, I've never screamed so loud in my life before. I slammed the door there, blindly fumbling to lock the door, praying to Mary, Joseph, and Jesus that what I saw was just the result of my sleep deprivation. But nope, it ain't leaving me alone. I'm currently sitting on the toilet. This bathroom's small, the door is only 2 feet away from me, and the window's right behind me. I can't stop staring at the small gap at the bottom of the door. It keeps sticking its thin bony fingers under it, spasming and wriggling it around, like worms. It'll withdraw its fingers for a moment, and I think it's to stop and look under the gap, and cram it under again, wriggling it around. So I got fed up of staring at it. I took the metal bin next to the toilet, and tried smashing the fingers. I didn't mean to. I heard it scream. It sounded like a horrible mixture of a human screaming and an animal wailing. At least it's not. It stopped sticking their fingers under the door. How can I open the door and walk around my house like this? It won't stop wailing. My ears are ringing. I can hear it getting further and further away. It sounds like they're going downstairs. I don't know where it is now. No, wait. I can still hear the wailing, but it sounds more like laughter. It's very close, but it's not coming from behind the door. Duck. I think it's looking at me. Sleep paralysis. I've had sleep paralysis from a young age. I've tried all sorts of medications, treatments. I've saw all therapists and doctors in town. But the only treatment that helped was a changed sleep schedule. The sleep paralysis stopped for less than a month. Then one night, it continued. That night, when I woke up, I was drenched in cold sweat. I didn't even make an effort to move or scream since I knew what it was already. I just waited for the sleep paralysis demon standing next to my bed, looking at me, to go away. I noticed the demon was different. Normally, my sleep paralysis demons are women, cradling babies, wailing on my chair. But this one was a man. He was standing and wasn't cradling anything. I shut my eyes and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. I was wide awake. While trying to sleep, I heard something. A mosquito was right in my ear. Instinctively, I slapped it. That's when I realized I could move. I could speak. I wasn't paralyzed. And that man standing next to my bed wasn't just a sleep paralysis demon. Karinization. When I ended up in hell, the devil showed me his newest cruel and unusual punishment project, Karinization. See the German Girl Scout there in the distance? He pointed at an all-American neighborhood in front of us. She has such a funny accent when she speaks English. She seems to hate her stilettos and the green pencil skirt uniform, too. I grinned. Not to mention she can barely walk in stilettos and her tiara looks comical on those parted blonde bangs. Why is she running? She's running from a bunch of Karens. The devil smiled. They have all ordered their favorite cookies. And when they don't get the cookies they want, there's killing. Well, sometimes they demand to see the manager first. It depends on the Karen. Really? I looked at 5 middle-aged women, all holding machetes. 3 wore macabre masks. Where are you? One of the Karens was screaming. What happens when the scout can't outrun them? I asked. Or when she screws up the cookie order? They hack her to death. The devil said matter-of-factly. Or whatever else tickles their fancy. I know what you're thinking. Can't she hide in someone's house? The scouty can't count on the neighbors, though. No one is going to let her in. No one is going to save her. As soon as she drops dead, she's brought back to life and taken to another neighborhood. On and on it goes, for eternity. A genius hell loop. Oh, I'm so proud of my newest design. Isn't there a coronavirus pandemic on Earth now? More souls for me to torment. Who were they? I continued. The scouts. When they were alive. How many are there? They were smart, arrogant men. The devil laughed. As soon as they end up here, in hell, I take them to the Germanization chamber. I don't care who they were before. Their nationality, their age is of no relevance to me. I make them all into German Girl Scouts with annoying blonde bangs. All 21 years old. Their life, their old language, gone. All they can speak is English with a German accent. And then they are forced to sell cookies for eternity. With a smile, of course. As you know, Karens are demanding customers. If you don't smile, they burn you alive. What the? I paused. I just realized. Yes, the devil nodded. You're a 40-year-old Polish architect who suddenly speaks English with a German accent. Does that mean? My voice trembled. Oh yes, the devil's horns reflected the sun rays, blinding me. Do you think I'm your personal guide? Or did you think we are going to be buddies? You fool. You're next. Now, pick your German girl's name. The Karens are waiting. Just look. 10 middle-aged women were pointing at me, making throat-slitting gestures. No, my screams were heard across hell, drowned out by demonic laughter. Oh yes, the devil said. Oh yes, I'll let the Karens pick your new name. Descent. The elevator was fairly old, 50, 60s was my guess. I'm no expert by any means, but it was a Westinghouse model, and I believe it's common knowledge that they had black buttons on their elevators back then. The man was nervous, sweat running down his face, heavy breathing, finger constantly pounding the emergency button. He was an elderly gentleman, fine suit, shoes sparkling like stars in the dim light. It'll be fine, I said reassuringly. How do you know? He mumbled annoyedly. The elevator had stopped between floor 9 and 10. Suddenly and rather brutally, we could hear the engine struggling, loud screeching moans, and I suppose anxiety is a rather natural emotion given the circumstances. When I was a child, I said, tugging the man's sleeve gently. About 8 or 9, I found myself in a similar situation. Going up, 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 then what? Then nothing. It just stopped. Just like now. The old man shuffled back and forth restlessly, his nervous gaze shifting between me and the emergency button. And, well, I'm here now, aren't I? I said cheerfully. He nodded weakly, a slight smile manifesting on his face. Wait, he wrinkled his brow. You said you were a child when it happened? Yes. But, he muttered. You're a child now. I'm not sure if he noticed me grinning widely before the lights went out, but his terrified scream might be an indicator that he did. Moments later the elevator jolted back into action with an uncanny metallic roar, and I watched the flashing floor buttons in silence as it descended at an ever-increasing speed. Hash, 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 semicolon. Why is it going down? The old man yelled. Hash, 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 semicolon. It's going precisely where it's meant to be, I answered. Hash, hash, semicolon. The elevator stopped abruptly as it arrived at the basement floor. The old man staggered clumsily into the wall, then fell on his back with some force. The lights flickered back on, and I sat down facing him. Are you ready? I asked calmly. Are we ready? He stammered pathetically. What do you mean? For the final descent, I shrugged. It's coming whether you're ready or not. Before he had time to reply the elevator dropped. There's just no way to explain how. It's beyond physics. Beyond concepts, like time and space. It falls for hours, days, weeks, years, until we're there, at the very bottom floor, the basement of basements. And then it stops. Where are we? The man mumbled, his ass-hen face drained of all life. What's behind the door? I've never looked, I said. I'm just the operator. But I can assure you, it's nowhere good. I don't pretend to know their crimes. They're unspeakable acts of cruelty and evil. Gruesome perversions and corruption. I just know that they're all guilty, and that the guilty needs punishing. I close my eyes as the door opens. I cover my ears as the tormented screams permeates the air. And then I return to work. As a self-proclaimed claustrophobic, elevators have always been a particularly horrid steel beast. I mean, Come on. You're hanging from a thin thread hundreds of feet into the air, and I imagine anyone with a moderately sharp pair of scissors could just cut that cord in a single snip. I wanted to do a normal, everyday elevator story, but it turned a little towards a supernatural with a ghostly operator, and possibly a quick visit to hell and back. I enjoyed writing it though, so I hope you enjoy reading it. A special thanks goes out to you/JP_chaos for the inspiration. You rock, as always. Feedback and critique is more than welcome. If you enjoyed the story and want more, please visit my subreddit r/obscuratio, and while you're at it, also check out r/thecryptocompendium, a collaborative subreddit featuring some of Reddit's finest horror writers. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.